Welcome to What's Your Story? My name is Catherine Mwangi, and for the last couple of weeks, we've brought you stories from the Lake region. Stories that have inspired, caused you to have mind shifts, mind elevations, caused you to change perspectives. And so our program today, we're going to be looking back at some of the highlights of the beautiful people of the Lake region. We came into Kisumu, about 2 months ago, and the Acacia Premier Hotel was very gracious to host us, for which we thank them profoundly. Our first guest, Dr. Vitalis Ogola, you all remember him. Let's remind ourselves on what makes Dr. Ogola's story fascinating for all of us. A dentist by profession.
Yes.
But first in the field of arts. That's where you started. So we start with your background then. What does that look like?
Vitalis Ogola is a Kenyan from Kisumu who practices as a dentist, but has a passion to support young, upcoming artists in different arenas. So primarily that is what I do. Yes.
So let's talk about the ways in which you support art in
Yes.
this county.
Okay.
You've done a lot, you and your wife. First, tell us about her.
Well, interestingly, my wife too, who happens to have been also involved in pageantry, she was supporting these pageants activities while she was in campus. And she's actually the one who really pushed us more to support the Kisumu Fashion Week and the likes. I have inclined more towards the stage plays, the thespians and the musicians. But she's inclined more towards the models.
Yes.
Yes. So we met two people who have a passion of art, but in different sectors.
Yes.
So it has brought us together to marry the two.
So in total, how many people would you say have passed through your hands?
Wow. I was actually trying to do a list. I think well, we've been here for quite some number of time. I think I've been in Kisumu for around 10 years now.
As many
Yes.
organizations.
So over this 10-year period, we probably sponsored more than 11 different groups.
Yeah.
Yes. Of course, some of them emerge, others don't emerge. Yes, but we don't lose hope.
So what's and I know you can't, it's like asking a parent for their favorite, who's your favorite child, but in your case, out of those you've supported,
Yes.
who are the ones that you enjoy, like?
Well, the one case that I'm proud of the most is there's a young girl called Ramina Polant.
Okay.
She's known in this town. She's a young girl who is trying to do modeling and doing many activities, doing environmental activities. And she first came to us when she was very young, that she has a beautiful face, that we could use her as a face for our clinic actually, so that she could put her face, the smile out there. We used her as a model for our clinic images, and she's put effort. And what we try to do is to help give her that visibility. Yes. So I see the effort that young girl puts, and I'm proud of it. The other group is the Lakewood Productions that I've just mentioned. I think if there's a group that has had a desire to have visibility, they normally joke that they want to have Kisumu to have the Nollywood of Kenya, that movies can be shot here and people enjoy across Africa, just like we enjoy Nigerian movies. They have constantly put the effort to rise. There's one guy called Acacia, he's a musician. We haven't, I would not say that we supported him significantly, but he started as a musician some time back. They were in a group, they approached us, we tried to support them, and he's constantly kept the effort. Until recently, there's a music that I think he just shot probably a month ago.
A video?
Yes, a video, and launched it on YouTube. We helped do the production costs, and I see his effort, I see him rising. At one time, actually, interestingly, when Nadia was starting in Kisumu, we also had her do a shot for us. perform in one of these, sponsored her to do one of these presentations. Not so long ago, and now Nadia is a big name in Kenya. Yes.
Yeah.
At that time, she was in Maseno University, yes. Yeah.
So before we knew her,
Yeah.
you
Before,
guys were already...
fact, yes, in fact, I think even in Kisumu, people didn't know her.
What?
Yes, yeah.
And now she's on the national stage.
Yeah, she's now big.
Yes.
Yes. The basics of economics is that if you have a population, you can make something out of it. So my desire is that, of course, the elderly people have done their part with their weaknesses or with their successes. But we need to have the younger generation, one, get a platform. There's somebody out there who could be the next Eric Omondi, but all they need is just to be given that visibility. Just like the story of Nadia, I've told you. I would not say that I would take credit for even 10% of her success. But at that point, what she needed was just a platform to be heard.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you have the ability, and you may not lose sleep by sponsoring for them even just the equipment, then do it. I mean, it takes somebody off the unemployment cycle. Yes.
Yeah. And also the suicidal cycle, which is very high now with the young people.
Yeah.
Because everyone has, well, not everyone, majority have lost hope.
True.
And because people like you and I are waiting for others to do it.
Yes, true.
Yet we can do it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what makes your story very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your wife deals with the beauty pageants.
Yes.
And you and this other, the flip side to that coin is yours is theater, drama, film.
That is my passion. I actually love going to watch it. I desire if it could be there on a monthly basis. I used to subscribe to Nairobi. They even still send me those messages, like we have a shot and things like that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of impact have you seen from these young people since you started working with them?
Well, the bit that I would say is I've seen people take things more serious, because there are those who've supported and they're not serious. So when they come back next, we probably tell them, no, I can't support you. If you show some seriousness, we walk along with you. So I have seen people try to get better. Yes, I have seen people try to get better. There are those who before were not even able to feed themselves off art.
Is there something you see that the young people are lacking?
Yes.
That hinders them from succeeding?
You need to have the discipline and focus to stick to your path. Nobody has the best path, but draw your own plan. Our plans cannot be similar, but at least stick to yours. Yes.
I like it.
Yeah.
Doc, thank you for coming to the program today.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time, your wisdom to the young people, and I'm looking forward to helping you campaign when the time is right. Winnie Goretti, a young girl from Migori who came all the way to our location here at the Acacia Premier Hotel, only 23 years old. And she reached out to me on Facebook and Instagram and wanting to share her story as an HIV activist. She got infected at 7 years old through defilement by one of her cousins that she used to live with. But now Winnie is a strong young woman with an incredible sense of humor, and nothing stops her. She's unstoppable. She doesn't care what you think. Her mission is clear, her purpose is clear, and that is what she's pursuing with her life. I believe Winnie's story uplifted so many of us, and this is just a little snippet of some of the powerful things she said. The journey to you being a HIV activist, ilianzia wapi?
The story changed on a Thursday. It was a Thursday. That day I'll never forget. Niliamka tu mapema at 4, my normal routine, kwenda kuleta maji. So my last trip kwenda, nikaanza kusikia movements. Nyuma. Kuangalia nyuma sioni mtu, but ukitembea unasikia ni kama someone is walking
behind you.
Yeah, but turning to see hakuna mtu, kumbe wanajificha. That day I was putting on a white skirt, a very beautiful skirt yenye my dad bought for me before akufe. The next thing niliona ni my skirt was with, niliona tu stain ya blood, kibuyu nilibeba ilikuwa chini, maji yalimwagika yote down. So kuangalia hivi, I saw my cousin, now the son
To this woman.
So nikaenda nyumbani. I was crying. That was around 5. 5:30. Nikaingia kwa nyumba, nikaenda penye nilikuwa nalala, nikakaa kwa mattress. With blood, nikatoa tu nguo, nikatoa hizo nguo, nikavaa some. So yeye kuamka, akaamka akaona no movements kwa compound, hakuna mtu yuko kwa kitchen mwenye anapika. Then she called me. Winnie, bado unafanya nini saa hizi? Then I was like, auntie, sisikii vizuri. Akaniambia nini nakufanya? Nikamwambia niko tu na maumivu but nakuja kukuambia. Akaniambia kuna kitu utaniambia, wake up, tengeneza breakfast, naenda market. And that's how she left.
So you didn't tell anyone bado?
I did not share with anyone, not even my sister.
And how old was this man?
He was around 20 something.
He was in his 20s?
Yeah. It was around 23 or 20. 20s, from 23 onwards. He was not young. Kufika class 8. Nilitoka shule, lunch. So naenda nyumbani for lunch. Tulikuwa tunaenda to lunch home. I met this impact. You know, the impact that they have this program of doing HIV test.
Yes.
Kwa barabara unapata wameweka tent.
Yes.
And I was with a friend, we were two, and I was curious and I asked her, kwani ya watu wanafanya nini hapa? Then they overheard me asking. Wakatuambia hapa we do HIV test, something like that. And nikamwambia si tuingie at least
testiwe.
Yeah. Wakafanya. I saw 2 lines and I was shocked. Nikakumbuka nikamuuliza ulisema 2 lines ni negative ama positive? Akaniambia 2 lines is positive. Form 1 first term things were just okay.
So wait, all this time hakuna mtu umeambia?
Hakuna, sijaambia my sister-in-law, and I was really close with my sister-in-law. Hakuna kitu ningemficha. The second time I went to the hospital, nikaambiwa, can we do a HIV test? Akaniambia, umekuja na nani hospitali? Nikamwambia I came with my uncle. Venye alinituma niende nimuite, na hivyo ndio nilienda.
Au kurudi naye?
I left my uncle at the hospital. Mimi nishafika nyumbani. So, kufika
mbona kumuita?
I remember I was positive and the doctor will tell my uncle that tumefanya test and is positive. My uncle will tell my sister-in-law, automatically ingefikia brother yangu. Mimi kuisha.
So ulimwacha hiyo hospitali?
Nilimwacha tu hapo, mimi nikaenda nyumbani. Hiyo exam ya end term, saa form 1 first term. After tulimaliza exam, nikakuwa mgonjwa tena, nikaenda hospitali. This time nilienda peke yangu. Now this is the 3rd time they were doing a test, HIV test for me. And again it turned out to be positive. Nikasema, sasa hii kitu kumbe ni ukweli. 3 times. Nilisema tu now, let me just accept I'm positive and start taking medicine. I just decided one day, what if I come out like I'm living with the virus on Facebook? What will people say? And I thought about it. Then one day decided to post it on Facebook, on my account.
How old were you at this time?
I was 18. I just wrote from point 0 to that particular moment. Then nikafunga data. Ilikuwa usiku, nikafunga data, nikalala. Wacha niamke asubuhi nifungue data. I had over 100 messages kwa Messenger. People could not believe that I'm positive. And up to date, I have friends wenye wanajua I'm creating awareness and I have monthly payment.
Do people look at you when they see you wearing this branded t-shirt?
It's normal. You just look at me now. It's your eyes now, not mine.
I love how strong you are.
I just have to.
You are so strong.
Society tuko nayo saa hizi, my friend, you will die tomorrow. If you're not strong.
You're only 23.
If you're not strong tomorrow, you'll be dead.
Godspeed in all your endeavors.
Thank
I have totally enjoyed your story. You turned something so tragic into something so beautiful. Hilda Raburu, a powerful, courageous woman, a widow. She took care of her husband for the last 8 years before he passed on last year from prostate cancer. Hilda has gone through everything unimaginable, from fights with her in-laws when still her husband was unwell, to fights with the community, but she still stays put for the sake of her children. Hilda is a woman who teaches us that you do not give up just because it's difficult, but you find strength to swim in troubled waters. Hilda is a story that personally spoke to me. Knowing what widows go through, it enlightened my eyes. It opened me up to just the plight of widows in our communities. Here's just a little reminder of what her story is about. So your story starts right from when your husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Yeah.
So tell us what that experience was like.
It's very rough. Very, very rough. And I can recall it was in 2013. So I was at home here in Kisumu, and he was still working in Nairobi.
What had happened for him to feel he's not feeling good enough that akaenda hospitali?
So one day I decided to go there. Nikapata ameswell miguu. But ananiambia tu it was a prick. Unaona? Hakuniambia the truth. Unaona?
Ilikuwa imefika hapo kwa kuswell miguu? Ameswell miguu, but yuko ndani ya nyumba, hajaenda kazini. My God.
Yeah. So zile tests walikuwa kirequire zilinimake nikaanza kujipatia addition 1+1. But it wasn't coming to 2. Inanikujia 4. I try to add 1+1 inakata. Because when we are told biopsy test, kuna PSA test, and then kuna some charts you read kwa hospital. So inakupatia where unajijazia wewe mwenyewe. Akaadmitiwa. After admission nikarudi nyumbani. And with prostate uanza na blockage ya mkojo. Na daktari akatuambia very soon you are going to come back here. Alifanywa about 5 surgeries.
What?
5.
5.
Sasa the last one, daktari alisema lazima those things were to be removed because hizo ndo zilikuwa zikicause that cancer. But the better part of it haikuwa imeshika spinal cord wala kidneys ama liver. He was just walking. And you know, hiyo prostate cancer has some stages.
Okay.
Kuna whereby ukitibiwa hiyo mkojo ina flow tu yenyewe.
Okay.
Yenyewe non-stop.
Yeah.
Sasa hiyo stage alikuwa ni ile mkojo inatoka. By the time he was dying, this part ilikuwa imekula spinal cord. So the waist hapa wanafungia trouser ilikuwa imeseparate na mwili na hajakufa. And then hii shingo imeshikiliwa na bone nyingine hapa. I think hizo vitu muanga nazo kwa kamera ziko. Prior to his death, kitu 3 days to, my brother-in-law came.
Where were they all this time?
I don't know where they were. Lakini tuna stay around.
Hawakuwa namtembelea?
Hakuna mtu alikuwa kikuja, but whenever wangekuja, tungetoka either fighting ama tuna throw words.
Mbona?
Because the moment they came, unaambiwa wewe ni mchawi, unaua ndugu yetu. How can you kill your husband? How?
This is a man you want to save.
Alafu, and you are saving his life.
Yes, you've left
by
your
taking
life.
care of him, you are saving his life. So ilikuwanga ni frakash.
Kila saa.
Ilikuwanga ni frakash, but what I knew, brotherke vile yuko sick because he was the elder brother. Sasa yeye ndio atateko. When whatever was wanted ni atatumwa aende hospitali chukua hii pesa. Unaona? But dad alikuwa na hii upstairs ilikuwa sawa. Sawa. Kabla, because there was a time walini accuse mpaka tukafight. Physical fight.
Na dad sasa kwa wapi?
Amelala kwa kitanda. Physical ile hawezi kunyamaza. Unaambua unawacha mtu njaa. Mimi naenda kutafuta shule. niko na co-wives, mabibi za ndugu zake, fine. Nikitoka asubuhi, they are supposed to bring porridge.
Yes.
Kama nimetoka, fine, kama anakanga njaa.
Yeah.
Lakini I didn't ever meet anyone kwa geti yangu. Ati tuna exchange mabeba, singia muangalie. Hakuna. Huku tuna spend money kwa hospitali. In fact, tulitumia 2,377,000 na yui sugar niambia ni bebe. Na ndio nina appeal for those who are still having their husbands. Wa respect mabwana zao. Hata kiwa mlevi.
Ebu waambie.
Bibi zao. Unajua jamaa hata kiwa drunkard aje, anakuja na kaaje madhugunio, si unaelewa? Mfungulie mlango. Because the moment he leave that place, I'm telling you, ataka mosquito kakujua meza kana kufanyia hivi. Wa respect mabwana zao.
No matter how he is.
Yes. Do you know to be crowned a widow? Hiyo jina haiwezi kuja hivi unafikiria ati somebody just dies unaitwa a widow. No.
Hilda, asante for sharing your story.
Yes.
Really, really thank you for sharing your story.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're such a strong, courageous woman. Very, very strong and courageous. I can only wish you the best in the days ahead.
Thank you.
We take a short, quick commercial break at the moment. When we come back, more reflections from Kisumu County. Welcome back from the break. My name is Catherine Mwangi. Today we are reflecting on some of the stories that truly inspired us from the Lake region. And we are at Acacia Premier Hotel, right in the heart of Kisumu. And we are absolutely grateful to the management of this place for hosting our team while we were harvesting these stories. We were profoundly honored to have hosted the governor of this county, Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, and we just wanted to delve into the personal side of his life. We've known him as a political scientist and economist. He's an accomplished scholar and academician, and we just wanted to know who is he outside of those spaces. He was gracious enough to give us a worthwhile conversation. We are happy to be having the governor on our program to share his story. And so far we've established the things he doesn't like, which are quite many, but we just spoke about one.
I don't like being idle, really. My wife complains that I'm a workaholic. I work too much. But I don't, sometimes just being idle bothers me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You can't just sit.
There's a difference between relaxing
and being idle.
And being idle.
Huh.
Being idle means that you don't have something to do. You are aimless.
But Your Excellency, for as long as I have been alive, I don't think you have not had anything you're doing. You've been busy.
I know, and that's, I mean, it can also be an obsession, really, I think, because, I don't know, I just grew up like that. I take it from my mother too. My mother is somebody who worked all her life, maybe because we were a family of 11 kids, and my father's salary in the church was not that big. So she had to work to ensure we go to school.
Yeah.
So she was, and she involved us in the work. So I grew up not being idle. I like music.
Oh,
like,
which genre?
Zile Zopendwa. That surprises you. And reggae.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
And I would say Black American music I really like. Aretha Franklin and all that.
Okay, yes,
Yeah,
the soul, the old soul.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you write poetry?
I used to write poetry, and I got some published, but something happened, when I was at University of Nairobi, and we had those problems with mowing, and then we had to migrate to Mexico with my family. My young family, we only had a daughter then, my eldest daughter. And then I left my stuff behind in my house. My sister was then a student at the University of Nairobi, took care of them. Then, of course, the university repossessed their house. And then my things had to be bundled together and taken to my brother-in-law's place, some to my father-in-law's place. And then I had a lot of poems which I'd drafted, I still remember. There are some that I used to work with schools broadcasting of the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, KBC, which later became Voice of Kenya. And some were recorded at the schools broadcasting. I always think that I should go and try and retrieve them. But then when these poems disappeared, I kind of lost the spirit of writing poems. It's very interesting, it's very dramatic. Even when I was in Mexico, but I just lost it.
Yeah?
And never recovered.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I tell you what, you know,
Yes.
this book that we did, was it last year or the year before, when we launched it? 2019, eh? Well, it's a collection of essays that are written over some time, aimed at one thing, trying to put into perspective what kind of system of government we have in this country. And I wrote it with the idea that it should be part of a debate before the elections. And it was called Presidential or Parliamentary Democracy in Kenya. Choices to be made. I hope that in the end we shall make a choice in this country
Yeah.
to have a parliamentary system of government. Because I think in the kind of society we are in, culturally diverse, ethnically diverse, very, very dynamic politically, with a bubble of ideas, you know, with commitment to freedom and human rights and all that. The best system of government parliamentary, because it provides an atmosphere of debate in parliament, tolerant of diverse views, and those whose views are most attractive to the electorate during elections then can form government because they're being given mandate to do so.
Yeah.
And run away for this monetized politics. Because this monetized politics, highly monetized politics, is just corruption based, if you ask me. And I do hope that maybe several years from today, 30, 40 years from today, when we are all gone, we will move away from this and embrace parliamentary democracy. I mean, look, if you read the history of Great Britain, they went through the same thing. The rotten boroughs, for example. It was the same thing, but it matured. The US is still going through it. The US, contrary to what people say, to me, is not a mature democracy. It's a democracy still looking for its correct high pedestal in parliamentary politics. Too much dominated by big business, you know, and very, 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 very negligent of lower level society, poor people and so on. You know, the Indians, for example, in the reserves were the original people in the US, but there are a majority which is now minoritized, just like women.
Yeah.
So I really think that, but a parliamentary system of government, historically, has always given space to diverse people in society, voices being heard, and decisions being made in a much more democratic manner than we are seeing in the US or here, for example.
Yeah. So that's your dream and your hope.
That's my dream. I hope that book will be a legacy.
Yes.
That those debates will be taken seriously in decision making.
Has it been a rewarding journey for you?
I think it has been. I don't regret it.
I was going to ask that, any regrets? So you just answered that already. Yeah. No regrets.
I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
I think, like Amika Cabral said, we have done our best in the context of our time.
I love it.
I think I've done my best in the context of our time. I mean, our times have been difficult, but we have done our best.
I love it.
We may not have succeeded in our goal, like having a parliamentary system of government, but I don't regret it.
Yes.
At least we leave a trail, we leave a legacy, we leave a culture of debate, we leave a presence of ideas that may be useful to those who come after.
I like it. I'm just fascinated listening to you talking about it, and I'm not even the one reading the book.
You know.
But thank you for making the time.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Winnie Odera is a young woman. We had the honor to just hear her story while still here in Kisumu. She's young, born, raised, bred, schooled from the slums, a firstborn of 5 kids, lost 2 of her siblings and her dad at a young age, and you know, she saw herself as a breadwinner for the family together with the mother, selling fish, and now she has won regional awards. She's flown all over the place, just getting knowledge that will be used to help this community. She raises women and girls in the areas of conservation and environment, and she also has a financial firm, We Launch Capital, which is doing amazing things for businesses in this region. So let's remind ourselves a bit about what she said. So Caroline, born, bred here?
Yes, I am born and bred in Kisumu.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at what point did the breakthrough come for you?
So there was an opportunity that at that time in 2010 that wanted a girl, a youth in Kisumu to go and represent the region, in the States. Yeah, and then and then what happened? Yes, what happened is one of the organizations in Kisumu, they just recognized me. They thought about me because they only see me.
It's the only girl they see.
Yeah, they only see me in the workshops, in the region.
What was going through your mind, imagining that you're going to be on a flight the first time
I was like,
ever in a new country?
You're from Obunga, you haven't gone out, and then you're going to take your first flight, and then you hadn't even have a passport, because having a passport is a privilege. It's not even I'm told it's a privilege. It's not something that everyone has. Yeah, so I got my passport. In like 1 week, I got my passport, and then my travel was also booked in 1 week. Then I traveled to this.
And what were you going to do in New York?
Oh yeah, so there was a conference. That was it was called CSD. CSD. You went for CSD 17. Yeah.
And they picked you because?
Because I was the youth that was talking about environment stuff in the region. So we started an environmental conservation group.
You and who?
Me and a friend of mine that I met at the Sunset Brothers.
So what was the organization about?
Yeah, so the organization was also environmental, but more towards entrepreneurship, environmental entrepreneurship.
Got it.
There's something about entrepreneurship. So you work in a particular place, but you also have something to do with the skills that you have.
Yes.
So what we call entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of women and girls, they draw a lot of their resources naturally. So they use the lake, they use the papyrus, they use the hyacinth. They use all the natural resources to earn an income.
A living, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, I really need to do something to use my skills that I learned from school.
Yes.
To do something for the women and girls.
I like that.
Yeah. So while I was still in the organization, I actually thought of starting my own organization.
Ah.
Yeah, so that's how WISE came about. Sometimes when we go for the field visit, we would visit the homes in the homestead, and we would get the women volunteer their time. They cook for us, but you'd see them struggle. They would look for firewood, the 3 stoves, but you could see the suits, the black suits in the house. So then I thought, what can I do for women and girls? Because these people are really struggling.
Yeah.
But this really reflect my situation back there. Yeah.
You grew up in it.
Yes. So then my first project was Smokeless Homes project. Yeah. That's where that's where I used to do solar lamps and cook stoves.
So what other projects then have you done through WISE Hub?
Through WISE, so at WISE Hub. So WISE is now 5 years. Yeah. So when I started, it was when we started, it was like 2 years. We had issues. We are still looking for funding. We are still, it was just baby steps, So so now it's 5 years old. We have an office, but we work with women and girls, not just in energy, but we work with women and girls. We empower them to engage in other alternative livelihood sources other than fishing. So last year in August, I got a mild stroke.
A stroke?
A stroke, yeah.
At 34?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, but I had all the tests. They said there's nothing that caused it.
What were you feeling before you went to hospital?
Well, I think, so I don't know, there were many things that were running across my mind.
Yeah.
So I think it was just stress level, because I did all the tests, but there was nothing that was really close to it. Yeah. So, so last year, so then I couldn't speak for like a month. Yeah.
It impaired your speech?
Yes, so I couldn't speak for like a month. So I used to stammer, I used to struggle speaking. Even right now my speech is a little bit distorted.
It's not
but
the same.
At least you can
I can understand. One can't even say you had one.
Oh yeah,
strong.
really?
No.
But
Yeah.
but it's not myself. I'm not feeling like I used to. This is how I used to be before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, because I used to be chatty, and because I used to
Yeah.
do shows like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but it's coming up.
I wish you God's best
Thank you.
in your next step.
Thank you very much.
You're most
And thanks
welcome.
for having me.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Professor Hazel Miseda Mumbo was such a breath of fresh air. She has done a million things, quite literally, and done all of them well. Her path to the heights that she now swims in is nothing short of inspirational. She's a warrior woman, and her passion in just seeing students and the communities around her develop and progress is admirable. Professor Hazel was a personal inspiration to me, and this is just some of the things that she said that should inspire you too. Professor Hazel, I love your name, first of all.
Thank you.
You are looking very good. I love your colors, your shoes, everything.
Thank you.
So, Professor, a whole professor, Vice Chancellor, you have been to school for a very long period of time.
True.
You love education
Yes.
and your life as a scholar.
Oh, yeah.
Where did that start?
Well, I remember when I was in high school,
Okay.
I had imagined that I would be anything else, but you don't really have to work hard for it.
Yes.
By the time I finished and didn't make it to the university, then I realized, oh, we have to make changes in our lives. We have to design our lives.
Yes.
And that's the point that I said, well, we'll go back to school.
Wow.
And when I got an opportunity in 1998, I never stopped. I went through school for 12 straight years.
Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. So you have finished high school.
Went to college,
Yes.
then worked as a teacher
Yes.
in various schools,
Yes.
both government and private.
Private, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then when the opportunity came in 1998, I went to school until 2012, straight to PhD.
What did you feel was missing for you to want to do that?
Well, I felt that I was a brilliant girl who made mistakes at the beginning.
What mistakes?
I mean, you didn't work hard at school. You know, when you just pass exams without efforts. So I didn't quite put the effort that I needed at A levels. I knew that I needed to just be my best. And I knew that the world needed me out there. My first degree is in education. My second degree is in business administration. My third degree is in community health and development. And I also have a certificate in human resource from Galilee College.
So you're saying there's more than one degree?
Yeah, it's a myriad.
More than one degree.
Yeah, there are 3 degrees from different disciplines.
Yes,
Yeah.
disciplines, yes.
Yeah, different disciplines. After I finished my MBA, then I applied for jobs. I felt that I'd done my best at being a teacher.
Yes.
And I knew that I wasn't going to be a principal of a school or whatnot.
You didn't want that?
No, that was not my thing.
Okay.
I knew that my place was somewhere out there. Yeah, so I applied for jobs, and luckily I got a job as a human resource manager with Opportunity International WEDCO in Kisumu here. So I moved into Kisumu. My husband was already working for KRA. He was the boss here, so it was easy to
the
come home.
transition,
Yeah, the
yes.
transition was very easy. Yeah, so I worked for a year, and I didn't like the hiring and the firing bit in the HR. Yes, and I felt that there was a lot of unfairness, and there's nothing I could do about it. So one day I met a friend at the airport, and I asked her, Rose, where are you? And I'm at Great Lakes University of Kisumu. I said, what? Yeah, I'm coming. So then I called again, and she told me come. I met Professor Dan Kaseje, and apparently it was a science-oriented university. So the humanities business was not there. So I said, you can come and teach the soft skills, the human resource, public relations, and then you can also teach health economics. You study health economics? I said yes. Wow. So I learned, as you know, you read we read for exams.
Yes.
Yeah, during the MBA to pass. Now you have to write, to read, to go and
Teach others. Yes.
Yeah. So then that's how I transitioned into the university. I liked what I found there. It was a small university. They had a mission to change lives in the community.
Where do you think you will reach and say, enough? Now,
I don't want to chase the wind.
I like that.
I don't want to chase the wind. I want to make an impact with Great Lakes University. For now that I've been given this mandate, we must do it well. We must leave a mark. We must make sure that the students that are there during my time can go back and say, yeah, we at least were salvaged from something. Because actually the NGO world depended on and even the county government depended on the graduates from Gluck. And we are going back there. And what is interesting is that the regulatory bodies like the clinical officers, the nursing council, already as soon as the management changed, they've come and they are now supporting. Actually, the last exam, the national exam, regulatory exam for clinical officers, was actually done in Gluck. 200 students, and they said, we are coming back and we want you to mount a master's degree program.
Yeah.
And you can see people cheering you up. Those who knew what it was are really cheering us up. And I only wish the government can give us an opportunity to really demonstrate what we are and what we expect to do with this university.
Yeah. Young man, James Odera, doing amazing things in this community in the area of tech and innovation. He's working with young people in high schools and universities just to bring them together to see how to use tech to provide solutions to the community around them in this lake region. You will recall the governor also, mentioned his name as one of the people, one of the stakeholders that's going to help the county in building business hubs and entrepreneurial hubs for Kisumu County, for those who have any idea that could develop their lives in whichever way. So he's a co-founder of Lake Hub here, and these are some of the highlights from his beautiful stories. Let's get to know a bit about how you grew up, where you were born, your family back then.
Well, I was born and raised in Homa Bay,
Homa
Bay County, and specifically in Homa Bay town. The fourth of 7, so a big family. And my dad was a primary school teacher, and my mom was a tailor. Yeah, I was born in 91, in October, and I grew up in a big family. Back then, I would not call Homa Bay rural.
Yes.
Unless you're from Nairobi, you'd call us rural. But it was like a mix of both rural and some sort of urban setting, because we spent some time in the village, but most of our time was in Homa Bay town.
So at what point did you know that you're a techie, an innovator?
Well, I always find it difficult to understand my dad. He got interested himself in computers when computers were becoming a lot more accessible from a business perspective. So he opened up a business for, back in the day, typing and printing services.
Like the cyber cafes?
Yes. Then they're not called cyber cafes because there was not anything close to a cafe kind of a setting, at least, especially the ones in Homa Bay. So the common understanding then, they were prone to breakages. If there was something wrong with the computer, you'd have to take a trip to Nairobi to find a fundi. And if I remember back then, a trip to Nairobi from Homa Bay was quite a long journey. One time, there was something wrong with the computer. And it was something very, very simple, because I'd spent enough time with the machine, probably more than anyone, because I would spend like 6-8 hours myself.
Wow.
Every other person during the week would mostly just with the computer, but for a specific task. But for me, I would explore. So there was something wrong with it, and I told my dad I could fix it.
How old were you?
13.
Wow.
Yeah. And he did not trust me, so I said, okay, go ahead. So that's the day I earned my respect.
So you co-founded Lake Hub with whom?
It was a group of other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a group.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So when I was thinking about this, it was not just me thinking about it. There were other people in Kisumu who were also thinking about starting
People you
something.
knew or people you came to know?
I came to know them.
Ah, okay.
But there was a link. They came down to Maseno to meet me. I was in my final year. And we had this conversation about Lake Hub. Okay. So at that time, they already coined the name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it was Simeon that coined the name that if we're going to start something like this, we should call it Lake Hub because, you know, we're by the lake and a hub that brings people together.
Take us together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's, we met and I think it was just like the final weeks at the university. So we decided to team up and start Lake Hub.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you've done in this community that you're recognized for?
Well, we recognized for our championing of technology education in schools, because we still do that.
Okay.
We work with over 35 high schools now to train high school girls, and we're still doing it every year. There's a focus in girls in this particular component.
Okay.
Because
Why?
there's very, the representation of women in technology is low. So this is part of our effort to get more young people into the technology field.
Right.
And after the training, they enroll for competitions sometimes. And we've done this also with Safaricom before. And one of the girls from our group went on to win an African challenge called Technovation. They flew to the US, met Google CEO. Later on, they...
What?
Yeah, I was so happy for them. Later on, they won the Africa of the Year award for their innovation.
What was the innovation?
They built an app to help save other girls who are trapped in FGM.
Wow.
Yeah. So they won the Africa of the Year award, and they built it through our training program.
Right.
Yeah. And I think they also participated in, they were finalists in the Sakov Award last year, 2 years ago. So that's one of the stories that also, you know,
That's huge.
that was huge.
Yes.
Other than that, we've worked with a number of organizations on how they can infuse technology in their solutions. You know, so helping them build tech products to reach more marginalized communities. Like one we did with an organization called Cash, which is mostly working with key population and also working in the domestic violence space. They're not able to reach as many people as possible, especially when COVID came. So we developed a tool to help them do that, and you know they've been able to reach thousands through that. And that is also such projects as undertaken by alumni of our training,
Yes.
so that their scale have a relevance in the community.
Oh, wow, man, James, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And
It's
I wish
wonderful
you
talking
the
to you.
best
Thank
in
you.
all your next steps. And yes, please change the region. Well, today's show was just a recap or a reminder of what our last couple of weeks were like on this program. We would like to profusely thank each and every one of you who tuned in, and to the people of this beautiful lake region. We hope that the stories you've heard, the stories you've watched from people just like you and I, will inspire you to want to do better and to be better. And if you've noticed a thread in all of these stories, it's not just about them, but it's about the communities around them. My hope is that you have been greatly inspired, and we look forward to visiting other regions as well. Matter of fact, if you want us to come to where you are, just reach out to us on our Facebook page. That's KTN Home on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And my page is Kath Mwangi on Twitter and Instagram, and Catherine Mwangi on Facebook. Let us know where you want us to come. Let us know what stories are in your region. Let us know what you have where you are that would help or go a long way in lifting up the lives of the people around you. It's not just your story, I hope you realize that, but your story has a great impact on society, and that's what this program is about. Thank you for walking this journey with us. To Acacia Premier Hotel, thank you so much for hosting us. Our partnership is beautiful. We thank you for your hospitality, and we look forward to visiting again when we decide we will do a second round of Kisumu County. For now, to have yourselves a blessed week.
Acacia Premier Hotel is a 4-star hotel. It offers 93 spacious contemporary rooms in standard and superior categories, as well as 4-bay suites and an international presidential suite. The hotel has a barista coffee lounge and bakery offering freshly brewed coffee. The gym, where you get to burn the calories to keep fit. A spa where you get to relax and de-stress. Aqua grill and pool bar area for hangouts. At the hotel, you have a spectacular view of Lake Victoria and Kisumu City from a bird's eye view. The hotel offers exquisite breakfast for residents and non-residents in a serene Acacia cafe.